So once we have the edges of the head and the nose right in the middle, the nose is going to connect right up to her eyebrow. And we don't want it very wide. She's turning, so you can see how wide this eyebrow is and how narrow this one is. It's just a little one being turned. Just like this pencil is long this way, but when we turn it, it gets shorter. So we're going to keep that one nice and short. And then her eyelashes are also going to be basically that same shape. A little bit of a point. And a little bit of eyelashes coming off at the end. And we have this line that goes from her eyebrow and goes right into her eyelashes, this side of her face right here. Then we'll draw her cheek, which goes right around and ends right below her nose. Sketch it out lightly in case we need to adjust it later. Then for her mouth, I'm going to do this smiling line first, and then I'll do her lips second. You might be able to hear the cat snoring if you're wondering what that noise is. Oops, a little too close to her nose there. I won't have any room for her lip lines. And her bottom lip is pretty pointy. We have a long side and then a short side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a long line till I get right underneath her nose, and then a shorter line on that side. And this top one looks like it's going just straight across. We can draw the rest of her nose, just a tiny little line for the nostril, and then a little bit bigger line for the side of the nose. Then for her other eye, if you go right up from the edge of her smile, you'll almost touch the beginning of her second eye. So I can do the same thing on mine. If I go up a little bit right from the mouth, then I know where to start her other eyelash. It's going to be skinny on this side and thick on that side. And then we'll draw her other eyebrow that's going to go a little bit farther than her eyelashes. And a few more detail lines for the eyes. We have the eyelid side that goes down on both eyes. And then we have these little smiling lines below and above her eyelashes. I'm going to start with this side line here on both eyes. And we've got a little tiny one under her eyelashes. And then one above her eyelashes, curves a little bit more. Then we'll start working on Anna. Her eyelashes run right into Elsa's eyelashes. So right from this eyelash, I'm going to make a shape that starts out thick and then gets skinny. Just like her eyelashes there. Start out thick on the ends and then get skinny, skinny, skinny. And Elsa's eyebrow and Anna's eyebrow pretty much touching shapes. So I know from her eyebrow up here, I'll draw a straighter one for Anna. Goes a little bit past her eyelash line, right? Because her eyelash line ends there, but her eyebrow ends over here. So I'll keep going a little bit farther. And connect it to her nose line. Like that. The other thing that's very close to Elsa is her mouth. Her mouth bumps right up against Elsa's cheek and then goes across right there. So I'm going to start right where Elsa's mouth is, and I'm going to sketch in a big smile. The open part of the mouth. And this line on top goes a little bit farther into her cheek. I'm just going to pull that one out a little bit farther. Then we're going to draw Anna's nose, but because she's tilted slightly, her head's being tilted backward, her nose isn't going to be straight like Elsa's. It's also going to be tilted diagonally up. So her nose is going to be tilted up this way. In fact, I think I'll adjust her mouth a little bit to tilt more. So she's going to have one nostril higher than the other. So if I put a little mark there, the other one is going to be lower on the paper. And the side of the nose here, it's going to be high on this side. And then on this side, it's lower on the paper. And if you have to move her mouth around so you'll have room for the lips, that's fine. I have to do it too. That's what erasers are for. And let's see if I can get a little closer here so we can see inside Anna's mouth. First, we're going to put in a little shape for her upper teeth. Then we've got a little bump right here for her tongue. And when we go to draw her lower lip, it's going to be the thickest right in the middle, and then it's going to be skinnier on the sides. So at the bottom here, I'm going to make it the thickest. On the side, I'm going to make it skinny. And then I'm going to try to connect up those two lines nice and smooth. For the upper lip, we're going to start right in the middle and make a short line up and then a long line going down. So I've got my little short line that goes up, long line going down. Other side too, I have a very flat line that goes just a little bit up, longer line going down. And the other eye is just a little bit farther than the edge of the nose, just that little bit of space. So if I do the same thing on mine, I have the edge of the nose. I just want a little bit of space. Now I can tell where her other eye should begin. Skinny at first, then we'll get thicker as it goes down. And then little flick at the end. We also want to check that her eye goes farther than the edge of her mouth. You can see the edge of her mouth only comes to about the center of her eye right there. And then for her eyelids, we have a short line that goes up and a longer one that goes down on both eyes. And we have that tiny line to show the cheeks being pressed and smushed up against. She's smiling. And we can't actually see Anna's chin because her sleeve is covering it. But if we did, I imagine it would look something like this. So just very lightly, we're going to draw her whole jawline. Her chin's going to be right underneath her lip at a diagonal there. And we'll get a feeling where her jaw is. Hi, Michaela. You can also see on the side of her head, she's got a straight line right by her eye. And then it's going to curve out into her cheeks. You can give yourself lots of lines, lots of options, and then just erase the ones you don't like. Then we're going to go ahead and work on Anna's arm because that's going to stretch all the way across the bottom of the picture here, the bottom of their faces. So first we're going to draw this nice puffy sleeve that Anna has that goes right over her chin. So I'm going to overlap her chin a little bit. We're just going to think of this as like a circle right here. Sketching out very lightly so I can keep the lines that I want and easily erase the ones I don't. And we can see that her elbow is right beneath Elsa's eye. So if I go straight down from Elsa's eye, I know that the elbow is going to be there. And I can sketch right over the top of Elsa's chin. If she had a chin, I'll draw it in real quick here. So if there's her chin, if here's her chin, we're going to draw that arm line right along her chin, right back into the circle. I'll erase out Anna's chin so it's a little easier to see what's going on here. I'm going to put that little curving line for her elbow right in there. After that elbow, what happens? The line starts going downward again. Just slightly downward. I don't know how long to make it yet. That's okay. We'll just start going in the general direction. The bottom of her arm is much straighter. This is going to go right out from... Actually, let's go ahead and make the curve of her sleeve first. It'll be easier. You can see this backwards C shape. This little crescent moon here that makes the edge of her sleeve. So I'm going to make a little crescent moon shape. Erase the part of the circle I don't need anymore. Then we can go ahead and add that bottom line that's much straighter, but still it's going a little bit upward. And right away, if you think, oh, my arm looks too skinny, then just lower the line. If you think, oh, my arm looks chubbier than it does in that picture, you can just bring your line upward. Go ahead and adjust right as you go. Keep looking, keep comparing. Make that sleeve a little smaller. We're not going to worry about the dress detail just yet. We're going to keep on working on Elsa. Get some of her hair in here. So almost every character has hair that goes one way and then hair that goes the other way. So I usually look for the part where the curves are going in opposite directions, and it's usually somewhere above the eyebrow. So I'm going to go somewhere above her eyebrow. And I'm going to have one piece of hair going to the left. It's a little short spike, right? This little one here. And then kind of a longer skinny one going the other way. And that longer skinny one almost reaches the nose and eyebrow. Then on the left side, we have this one that looks almost like a leaf shape. There are lines in the center there. That's going to be easy. We just go down and curve. Just like you're drawing the tip of a leaf or a feather. And on this side, I'm going to look, where does the hair end? Right in between her face and Anna's face, right below her eyebrow. So I'm even going to give myself a little dot as a target. Right there is where I want my hair lock to end. So now I can start way back up here and have it come down, 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 and hit the dot. And we can see that the tallest part of her hair is right in the middle. So up here, it's going to be really rounded and tall. And now I got to make these two connect somehow. In fact, ignore this little spike right now because this is one big shape. We'll make it just one big curve first. A lot easier that way. Smooth out your shape. It might take lots of lines, a couple of tries. Now we can come back and just like if we had scissors, we're going to cut out a little notch. Then let's do some of Anna's hair. Same thing. We have a part where one side goes one way and the other side goes the other way. And oh, look at that, like magic, right above the eyebrow again. Oops, we didn't draw this eyebrow. Let's draw that eyebrow first. Right above her eye. Fairly flat, not a lot of curve. Now I can go ahead and find above her eyebrow, we've got hair that goes this way and comes right down and touches that eyebrow. and goes right off the side of her head. And on the other side, we have just a teeny tiny piece that points to the corner of her eyebrow. Flat on the bottom, a little curvier on top. Then we got another one that does touch her eyebrow. I'm going to have mine not touch the eyebrow just because I don't like those tangents. Personal preference. And then we've got one more that goes right and bumps into Elsa's hair. On this side, we've got a much curvier line than we did on this one. So I'm going to curve that line. When you make these kinds of curves, be careful not to make them even like this. Like a backwards letter S. Don't do that. See, we got a big bump and then we got a little bump. Big curve and then a little curve. Not even. Then we've got one more big line that goes all the way across and comes right into Elsa's hair. Then I'm going to add Anna's ear that pokes out just a little bit. It's right about the same level as her nose. If you go diagonal, remember we have to keep everything diagonal for Anna. So if I go from her nose to the side of her head, I can see that's where her ear starts. I'm going to follow her nose. Boop. That's where her ear starts. We only have to make a tiny little check mark because her hair is going to cover up everything else. And we'll just add this one diagonal line that goes across the top and covers it up. Then we can start drawing her braid. You can see there's one big curve on this side and one little curve on that side. Where does this big curve start? It almost starts right up by her bangs. A little higher than that piece of hair right there. Coming all the way around. Big curve on that side, and then we just have this little curve on this side. Right, very, very close to her sleeve. Not touching, but very, very close. We're going to do that 1, 2, 3 more times with a big curve on this side, littler curve on this side, big one that side, little curve on that side. And this last one is more like an upside down raindrop. You can put a little rectangle if you want like a little ribbon or something holding her hair. And again, we can use that trick if I just look at this as one big shape and ignore all those lines on the inside. A little easier to draw. We just have kind of a flat curve on top and a bigger curve on the bottom. After I have the big shape, I can come back in here and trim out just one little spike. Smooth it out. And while we're here, you might as well add that one little line. show some hair texture. Then we have a couple of curved lines in the middle to show a little bit of how the hair is braided. Not very accurately, braids don't look like this, but that's the beauty of art, simplification. And let's go ahead and finish off her hair with just this last curve that goes from her bangs and goes all the way down to her braid. This last big curve. From here, way at the top, curves around and goes all the way to the braid. You can see I'm working from where I start and where I end, and I'm going to meet in the middle. Gotta move my teacup there. So then we have Elsa's arm wrapping around Anna. And we have to see, where does it start? About the same place as her elbow. And where does it end? Way on the back of her sleeve. So I'm going to start with this little line here to show this part of Elsa's hand on the back of her sleeve. I don't know how long to make it yet. I'm just going to give myself a target. That's where I want to end. I know that the roundness of Elsa's sleeve is near her elbow. A little bit more to the right than her elbow, so I'm going to do that. Put a curved line over there. Not quite sure how to do it yet. That's okay. I just know that's going to be there. And I can see that Elsa's elbow is right below Anna's mouth. So if I go from Anna's mouth and I go down, I know her elbow is going to be somewhere here. Don't really know where yet, but we're just gonna like make kind of dots, and then we're gonna connect up those dots. On the top, we can see that the line that we made for Anna just keeps going and it becomes Elsa's arm. Normally I don't like this kind of art, but that's okay. We're going to keep going with that line and then connect it right back up to her hand. So if I go from that line on the bottom of Anna's arm, keep going, and I want to connect it up to this hand. A little bit of a check mark. Or actually 3 times. We go down, change, and then go back up. Sorry about that. That was a little confusing. There's the hand. 1 change, another change. And you can erase that bottom of the circle if you still have it. We don't need that anymore. Let's go ahead and make this little triangle for her hand wrapping around. Just going to sketch out a little triangle. And from that triangle, I want to go down to somewhere on my elbow line here. So I'm just going to start heading down until I reach that line. Stop. Go ahead and get rid of that. Don't need that anymore. And now I want to connect the curve, or connect these two together with a line, and I want it to be about the same width as Anna's arm. So I'm thinking maybe here. I'm going to smooth that out. Smooth that out. I still want the lowest point to be right under Anna's mouth. And I can erase all the lines on the inside. Double check that everything looks good. I feel like her hand is getting a little chubby, so I am going to just shave off a little bit by changing the line on the inside. We'll put in that curve just like we did for Anna's elbow. We're going to put in a little curve for Elsa's elbow right by that low point. And then right after that is her sleeve, and she's got a double line there for the end of her sleeve. And let's go ahead and finish Elsa's hair. So right after this leafy one that we did over here, we've got a big swirly one that covers her ear. So let's make sure we know where her ear is before we add her hair. Her ear is going to be kind of on the same line as her eye. So I'm going to draw an ear, or if you want to, it might be easier to follow her chin all the way back up. And then her ear will be right at the end. Lots of ways to get to the same result. So now that I know where her ear is, and I know where her hair is, hair and ear, I'm going to make this line that connects the two of them. Go right over her ear and right up into her hair. And there's that little triangle piece that hangs down. And for the inside of her ear, we're going to do two lines. One of them is going to be that little bump that keeps your earbuds in. Put that a little low. I'm going to get it closer to her hairline. And then the other one just curls right back up. And that's it for her ear. We're going to take a look at this line. It happens below her ear and it goes right over Anna's arm. Starting below her ear, going to go right over Anna's arm. Curve it. The other one, you can see this almost connects, is going to be up from the top there and come all the way around. That's a big line, so I'm going to give myself some targets. I know that it starts next to her bangs, so here's where I'm going to start. I know it's going to end right by the curving line I made, this curving line, so it's going to end over here. And I know that it's going to be flat on the edge. So now I've got these almost like a dotted line. I'm going to connect them all up. Smooth out my shape. Get rid of the lines that I don't want. And then we're going to go ahead and do the big curving line that shows like her whole head. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark where I want it to start. I'm going to mark where I want it to end. And that'll help me to control my line a little easier. So I know I want it to start right up here by her bangs. Oops, maybe a little bit lower. Start up there. I know I want it to end on that big line that we just drew. So I want it to end somewhere over here. And I know I want this side to be kind of tall and a long curve, and then this one's going to be a shorter curve. So I'm going to make this one longer, this one a little shorter. Kind of compromise in the middle, smooth out your shape. Lots and lots of sketchy lines, and then I erase anything I don't want. Elsa's got a cute little headband on in this picture. So right from that line, we're going to go right back up to the bangs. And then on the other side, we're going to be a little bit narrow here and then wider up there. Just a bit. It's still curving around her head. Oh, I can see mine got too flat. This one goes a little bit more upwards first and then goes over. So that's okay. I got pencil, I've got an eraser. I'm going to go up a little more this time and then curve around. I should have looked before I leapt. Study the line before you draw it. All right, we've already had some practice with braids, so this one should be a little easier. Big curve, big curve, little curve. She doesn't have as long a hair as Anna. I didn't realize that. Big curve. Shallow curve. Another long one. Shorter one. A little rectangle if you want to have a ribbon holding it together. And this one, instead of making it one big shape and cutting it out, I'm going to pretend that there's no little hair. I'm just going to do this big piece first. Looks easier for me to do it that way on this particular braid. And then I'll come back and I'll add one little spike. Either way works. You can either cut it out or you can add it on. And on the inside, we've got a couple of curving lines. Now we can finish off Anna's hand right here, and then we're going to add some fingers. So on her arm, let me darken my camera a little bit here so you can see my drawing. Right before we get to the braid, we're going to add a little bit of a hand. So I'm going to, right on this braid here, add that much. Sorry, it's so far away. Let me get closer. So we're just adding, right now we have this, and I'm just going to add a little piece for her hand. And I'm going to add Elsa's back. So right here, we're going to have a line that comes right out of Anna's hand, goes down her back, and then outward a little bit. Just lightly. We're going to have to erase some of this later after Anna's fingers go around. So this first finger is all by itself, right by that little turn of the palm right there. I'm going to add kind of a shallow curve right there. Kind of flatter on this side, and then on the other side, it's rounder. We've got a little fat pad on that side, so we're going to round off that side. Then we'll have some space. And this next one too is a little flatter on top. Curvier on the underside. The next one is hiding a little bit behind her finger, so this one only has the top showing. And it's a little bit shorter. Uh-oh, here comes Bear. He's gonna go right on camera. No, 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 no. The problem with having cats in the classroom. Then this last finger, a little bit like a check mark. We've got a long line and then a short line. Just hiding behind all her other fingers. Then the front of Elsa's dress is going to be coming right out of her sleeve here. Put the front of her dress. And underneath Elsa's arm, right here where she's wrapping it around Anna, we see a little bit of Anna's dress. I'm going to move Anna's sleeve a little bit. Mine's a little too short. There we go, that's better. We have, only a little bit of time left, but I'm going to put up the reference picture. Any details that you like and I did not draw yet, like Anna's freckles or some of the little leaf or flower petal shapes on her sleeve, any of the extra lines in the hair, anything you want to add, go for it. This is your free time. Sorry, there's another picture underneath, so it shows through a little bit. Just about 3 more minutes and then we'll have our little gallery viewing. Just one more minute. Okay, time is up. Who's ever ready to show their drawing, go ahead and hold it up to the camera and I will spotlight you for everybody. Looks like Callista's ready. Let's replace spotlight. Aw, look at how cute they are. And look, you did all the dress detail. Whoa, nice job.
Here's my mom.
There's your mom's. Aw, look how cute they look. I know this was a tough one. You guys are doing a great job doing two interacting people. I don't know if we've ever done anything this difficult in this class before. Oh, you're muted, Callista. What did you say?
Nothing. I just said interactive people.
There you go. Interactive people. And then who else is ready to show what their princesses turned out like? Hanya, you ready? Oh, I can't hear you. Is your microphone on? Yeah, looks like your microphone's on. Yeah? Oh, am I the only one that can't hear Hanya?
We can't hear her either.
Oh, we can't. No, nobody can hear you. But that's okay. Go ahead and show your drawing. Let's see your drawing, which doesn't need any sound. I like your sweatshirt too. That's cute. Oh, can you hold a little closer? A little bit closer. Oh, I can see. I can see. Good job on those braids.
Cute. I color on my color. Yeah.
How about yours, Frank? Whoa, just like the coloring book. Look at those line weights. I gotta get my line weights. We'll learn about line weights next time when we do Kristoff for sure.
So good.
Mickey, anything you want to share? I'm going to take that as a no. Okay. Well, I'll see you guys next week when we draw Kristoff. Thanks for drawing with me.
Bye.
Bye.